Hello, everybody. Welcome along to Sportsbet TV. Paul Alster here with you, and very much looking forward to this weekend with some excellent bank holiday racing on Saturday across Britain and Ireland. There are 8 meetings on Saturday, and I look forward to bringing you 4 selections across 3 different meetings at Haydock, Beverly, and Cartmel. Now, if you're new to the service, do press the subscribe button just below this screen because you won't want to miss any of the bulletins. There's been quite a bit happening of late. Well, let's first of all, before we come to this week, go back to last week. We had a bit of an exciting Saturday afternoon. And I hope that many of you that are watching me now were watching me this time last week and managed to get on board what proved to be our most successful day ever, even surpassing the likes of the 80-1 about Jeff Kidder and the 66-1 winner earlier on in the jumps campaign. I recommended 4 horses for you. The first one, Louis Saint-Georges, well, there were a couple of non-runners, but he was already on the move as far as a gamble was being concerned. I mentioned him at 12-1. He eventually went on 4-1. Was a lot of money for him, and a great ride from Sylvester de Sousa, who kept him going just when it looked as if he was beaten. And I don't know if you saw the race, those of you that were on, but he put his whip down and he just rode hands and heels the last 75, 100 yards. And that seemed to make the difference. The horse responded better to hands and heels than the whip inside the final furlong. It was a masterful ride. And when that one went in, the first of the day, well, job's a good one. No complaints. We're going to finish ahead. Happy days. The second recommendation was up at Haydock. It was Frank and Stella, who I knew would stay and would like the soft ground, recommended at 9-1. Well, Frank and Stella came there looking a big danger 2 furlongs out. I was getting quite excited, but then she hit a flat spot, and I thought, well, hopefully she can keep going, maybe grab third. But as they went well inside the final furlong, her stamina kicked in, and as the leader began to just see his legs going to jelly, Frank and Stella, under a fabulous Never Say Die ride from Jason Hart, got going again. And much to our benefit, she stayed on really well, didn't she? And she got up in the last 50 yards or so to win in the end a shade cleverly at 7-1, having been recommended at 9s. And then we had the Irish 2,000 guineas. Well, already we're in clover. Max Swiney, he was quite solidly backed. I recommended him at 9-1. He was into 8-1. I said this was a chance for Rory Cleary to make a name for himself, a real big opportunity in a Group 1. And I wasn't convinced that he was the genuine second string to the Newmarket 2,000 guineas winner from the same yard, Poetic Flair. And what a race it was. I mean, Jim Bolger, take your hat off to him. Brilliant, really brilliant piece of training. For the second horse in particular, 3 guineas in the space of 3 weeks. And he's won one, got beaten a whisker in another, and run well when a bit unlucky in France in between. But Max Swiney up there all the way under Rory Cleary, looked as if he was going to be just edged out, about 100 yards out, but he rallied and he kept straight as Poetic Flair drifted to the stand side under Kevin Manning, and Rory Cleary took his chance, and he provided us with a memorable treble. Well, with the first 3 in, it all was getting very, very exciting. And I have to say that of the 4 recommendation, Mujbar was the one I really fancied of the 4. And wouldn't you know it, he's the one that didn't quite live up to expectations. He was back from the 10-1 I suggested down to 15-2, but he was slowly away, and it all kind of went wrong at the start. He recovered very quickly, but had to work to get into midfield, then improved to make an effort 2 out. But he wasn't going to win, I don't think. I think he was maybe a place at very best when he was squeezed out, and that was the end of it. I'm sure he's a lot better than he showed there, Mujbar. But whatever, 3 horses, if you had them in a lucky 15 or a Yankee or a patent or a round robin, your quid's in. And if you are quids in, and I know so many of you left great messages, and thank you for those. I really appreciate your support and the kind words. One thing I always was taught right from the start when I was punting and working on the racecourse, if you have a decent win, get yourself something nice to remember it by. Don't fritter it away. I'm going to be going away this summer on the back of what happened last weekend. Indoors is very happy. I suggest do something, buy yourself something, pay off a bill, go out for a special meal, something that will always remind you of a really good treble. Anyway, as always, I'm looking for the value. New people joining us all the time. Very rarely I put up horses that are short prices. I'm always looking for horses at decent odds, and I've found 4 for you for this Saturday. I'll get straight on with it now. The first is at Haydock in the 145, 6 furlong handicap, 16 runners, and many firms will pay 5 places. Some, such as Skybet, may even go 6. The going is soft. It's a well-contested sprint handicap. There are a lot with chances. I'm a Leeds lad originally, so Bielsa should be the one I'll be tipping you, but I'm not. He was 5th of 18 at York last time out. It was a very good run, and he's been eased a pound as well. So Bielsa will not be far away. Capote's Dream has won 3 of its last 4 of late and is in very, very good form. But I'm just a little bit anxious about the ground for this horse, even though it might dry out a bit. Musicality for Roger Varian. Now here's one that could be a danger to all. He was better for his reappearance. I'm sure he'll be better for it. And he won last season on soft ground at Newmarket. So I think he's a big danger. Musicality, take a look at him. And then you've got Punch Bowl Flyer for E. Johnson Horton, who won at Windsor in soft ground, and he's gone up £5. But my recommendation here is a filly called Helvetia, trained by Rafe Beckett and the mount of Frankie Dettori. And she's an interesting filly. She's having her first run of the season, having run 5 times last year. She won on her 3rd start at Chepstow over 7 furlongs in a maiden on soft ground and absolutely hacked up. She looked quite useful there. And then she stepped up to handicap company, went to Newmarket soon after, was a very respectable 3rd in a decent handicap of 82 last August. And then Rafe Beckett threw her in at the deep end and stepped her up to a listed race at Goodwood in October. Now, the going there was heavy, but she ran very, very well. She held every chance inside the final furlong, but just couldn't quicken it up close home. As it turned out, she ran a cracking race because the winner, Onassis, went on to finish a close 6th in the Group 1 Champion Sprint a few weeks later at Ascot. And the runner-up, With Thanks, went on to win the Group 3 Athassy Stakes over in Ireland by 5 lengths. And With Thanks is due to run on Saturday, by the way, in the John of Gaunt Stakes on the same card at Haydock. And significantly, and what has turned me on to Helvetia, she was also entered for that Group 3. But they've decided, instead of going the Group 3 over 7 furlongs first time out, to go for the handicap over 6 furlongs first time. A little less of a challenge, I feel. But in the soft ground, that 6 furlongs is going to feel pretty much like 7. So I think the fact that she was entered for that race to potentially lock horns again with Thanks, who may well go off one of the favourites, is significant because she could be a group horse masquerading as a handicapper here. So 6 furlong, testing ground, still unexposed. Rafe Beckett in good form. 5 of his last 17 runners have won. Now, he doesn't use Frankie Dettori very much. He's only ever used him 19 times, I see. Frankie's won on 3 of those, and he's been second on 6 more, as well as third ones. So more than a 50% place strike rate when he's with Rafe Beckett, and 3 from 19. He originally, in fact, just about half an hour ago, she was still 11-1 with 3 firms. That's gone. Now 10-1 each way, Helvetia, and that's for 6 places on offer with Skybet. So that's worth taking a good look at. For the 5 places, at the time of this recording, Friday lunchtime, you can get the 10-1 with Bet365, Boyle Sports, Betfred, and Bet Victor. So that's Helvetia, 10-1 each way in the 145 race at Haydock. And then no sooner will they have crossed the line there than they'll be on the way down to post at Beverly for the 2 o'clock race. This is a race very close to my heart. It is the Hilary Needler Trophy for 2-year-olds over 5 furlongs. Why is it close to my heart? Well, 33 years ago, my filly Catherine's Emerald ran in this race, and she got beaten a neck. This is a race that is a trial for the Queen Mary Stakes. She was a really good filly. That was actually at Beverly. She's coming up the hill there. She was still in front when that was taken. Bloody horse came by and beat her a neck on the line. But anyway, so a race I've followed for many years, and a race that has produced some very good 2-year-old fillies. Now, in this year's renewal, Hester Prynne, Lady Ayrson, Lucy Lulu and May Blossom are all last time out winners. And of course, they've only run one, maybe two races, most of these horses, if at all. And so they're open to any amount of improvement, but they've all won their races on decent or quick ground. And it's forecast soft, heavy in places at Beverly. Indeed, if I remember rightly, they had to abandon recently because of waterlogging. So it will be very testing. This is a completely different challenge. Now, there's only one in the field with proven form on soft ground, and that is the likely favourite, Kyber Crystal, who ran a really good race when second on debut to Ebro River at Doncaster on soft ground, and the pair were clear, and the winner is quite highly regarded. So that is the one to beat, Kyber Crystal. Now, I want to talk to you about this race because this is a race that has been used as a trial for good 2-year-old fillies. There are certain trainers that target it. Now, the Queen Mary Stakes is a race that Liberty Beach, who won this race in 2019, went on to run in and finished 4th of 25 in the Queen Mary in 2019. Of course, they didn't run last year. Prior to that, in 2018, Kodiana won for Richard Fahey. And in 2017, Chica La Habana won on racecourse debut for Robert Cowell. Now, both those fillies are owned by a very, very shrewd organisation called the Cool Silk Partnership. They target this race with their best fillies. Indeed, they target this day with their better 2-year-olds because they've also won the 2-year-old trophy that's later on the card a few times. They won the 2-year-old trophy with Summer Sands, and they won it with Prince of Lear as well. Why am I telling you all this? Well, what I'm trying to get to is that they have a runner in this Queen Mary Stakes who's making her racecourse debut, which is always risky. Her name is Jazzy Princess. Robert Cowell trains, Robert, who sent out a winner of this race previously in Chica La Habana for the same owners. And James Sullivan rides. Also, she's by Prince of Lear, who won on this card 5 years ago. So the genes sort of do indicate that this horse is likely to run well, along with the fact that the owners, who also bred this filly as well, target this race with horses they think might be capable of going to Royal Ascot. Now, I think this is a really interesting runner because she's also held entries, still has entries next week in much lesser races at Redcar, Leicester and Yarmouth, yet they've decided to come to Beverly for this hot race, a real hot race, knowing that the ground is testing. And my reasoning is that Robert Cowell must think this filly will go on soft ground. So I'm expecting her to run really well. And at the time of the recording, she's a 16-1 shot across the board, each way general price with just about every firm I've seen, including with Skybed and William Hill, who are going 4 places. So 4 places for this 2-year-old 11-runner contest, I think gives her a chance. Now, of course, with 2-year-olds first time out, it can all go wrong. They can miss the break, they can become overwhelmed by what's going on. But given the fact that Robert Cowell has done it before with a newcomer in this very race, I'm hopeful that Jazzy Princess will give us a proper run for our money at a big price. I believe the race is also on ITV, so you'll be able to get a good look at her and how she's behaving. So that is Jazzy Princess, each way 16-1 in the 2 o'clock at Beverly, the Hilary Needler Trophy. Now, a bit of a break until the next race, and I'm going to take you to Cartmel in the lovely Lake District for the 3:55 race. 3 miles, 1 furlong, handicap hurdle, 9 runners, going forecast is good to soft in places. This race is absolutely wide open. Just 9 runners, but the last I saw, they're betting 9-2 the field. And we've got an old, I'm not going to say favourite because he's a bit of a monkey. Sebastopol is back. I've tipped him a couple of times last jump season, and he didn't run up to form over 2 miles. He kept finding a way to get beat, and he's managed to find a way to get beat last twice. I think both times he touched at least 1.1 in running on the exchanges before getting beaten over 2.5 miles. And now they're stepping him up to 3 miles 1 in the hope he might be persuaded to put his best foot forward. I'm not going to risk Sebastopol again, once bitten or twice bitten, very shy. Del Arca, well, did you see him win there the other day at Haydock? Looked completely out of it and then came back to win. He's gone up £2. Tough horse. Will like the ground. In that same race, Sir Robbie was third and Bally Ellis was fourth, and they both have a bit of a weight pull. So there won't be a lot between those three. And then you got Ask Henry, who was a close second last time out, last two outings actually, and has gone up £4 for those two placed efforts. Now, Cartmel's a strange track. Not every horse is able to handle this course. There's a series of fences, of hurdles that come quickly, then a very long run in as they normally come back through the middle of the crowd on the run into the line. And a lot of horses don't go with this. But one trainer who knows how to train winners at this track is Gary Hanmer. And he has a horse here called WB. It's the mount of Brian Carver. Gary Hanmer trains. Brian Carver, the conditional, will be riding. Now, this horse has won 2 of his 12 starts, and actually they've both been at Stratford, another left-handed, fairly flat track. And he won his bumper there. And then last time out, on his 4 starts in stepping up to staying handicap hurdles, he really improved. He absolutely dotted up. 3 1/4 miles, he won with any amount in hand. And that was on the 18th of April, off a mark of 101, and he's gone up £12, which is a lot. But I've just got a feeling that he is still ahead of the handicapper. Now, this is a better race, but I do believe he'll have improved for that. And the Yard won this very race in 2018 with all bar none, so they know what is required to win this particular contest. And the Yard, Gary Hanmer's Yard, is in pretty good form. 2 of their last 9 horses have won, and quite a few of the others have run well. And they've also got a good record at Cartmel, as I was saying to you, showing a £17 profit if you back their hurdlers in handicaps over the years. Now, Brian Carver happily claims £3, which just makes the job a little bit easier. And he won on this horse at Stratford, so he knows him well. It also is Brian's only ride of the day. So that, I think, is another interesting point. And I'm hopeful that WB is going to run a big race here, and he's 8-1 each way. The only firm pricing up early on this race is not one of the big televised races or anything like that. But once again, thanks to William Hill, who've gone up with some early prices to give us a bit of a guide. He may well go bigger. Remember to try and bet with a firm that will offer you the SP if it's bigger than the price you take. But 8-1 each way is the guide price here for WB in the 355 at Cartmel. And then on to the final selection. And I've taken a bit of a, taken a bit of a punt here. At Beverly, back to Beverly, the Westwood in East Yorkshire, the 455 race, a 7.5 furlong 3-year-old handicap, 13 runners. The top weight here is called There's No Danger, and it's one of the few in the race with form. It's won on soft ground, and that was over 6 furlongs at Redcar in October. It's now £3 higher after 2 runs already this season. But most of these look really either modest or they've been hiding their respective lights under a bushel. Now, one horse jumps off the page, and that is Sir Michael Stout, with a horse that's very well bred called Bawadi. It could be a blot on the handicap because it's rated only 58. I mean, Sir Michael Stout with a 58 rated horse. I mean, you can hardly imagine it, but this horse has had 3 runs in maidens and novice races, has not shown much at all. It might be useless, but then again, it might be a different proposition once going handicapping. It's finished 7th, 10th and 9th, and it's bred to be a decent horse, but maybe it just is not very good. And Sir Michael's trying very hard to find a way to win with it somehow, and is sending it up to Beverly in the hope that the rest are absolute rubbish. Now, there's another horse in the race, also rated 58, and this is the one I think is the value, and his name is Zen Zero. He's trained by David O'Mara and is the mount of David Nolan. He had 3 runs late last year, all of them on the all-weather, and all of them over 6 furlongs. He finished 7th, 5th and 9th, not running too badly, but, you know, you wouldn't be getting too excited about the form. He then was off for 4 months and made his debut on turf at Thirsk just a few weeks ago. He finished 11th of 15 in a 6 furlong handicap on good to firm ground. I watched the race back a few times. He's outpaced most of the way on the quick ground before staying on in the closing stages, never getting nearer, but going on, I felt, at the finish, which means that he was just beginning to get into stride when the race finished. Now, he's by Twilight Sun, who was a horse who did handle some cut in the ground. The dam won over 5 furlongs on good to soft ground. But significantly, the dam is a half-sister to the very high-class miler, Penitent, who won Group 2 races on soft and heavy ground, and also to Supplicant, who won a Group 2 as a 2-year-old on soft ground. So there's every indication on the pedigree that once he encounters soft ground, Zero could improve. And given what I saw at Thirst, I think he'll be well suited by the stiff 7.5 furlongs up the hill in the soft ground. So the only problem with this one is that he's drawn 12, which I'm not sure is going to be ideal for him. They may have to just take a pull and drop him behind early and then try and improve through horses late on. But I fancy him to run well, and David O'Mara is very, very good at placing his handicappers. And at the time of this recording, once again, William Hill, the only firm pricing up, because it isn't a feature race, it is not televised on the main channels. And they're offering 14 to 1 each way, 1 for 14 to 1. And that's for 4 places, by the way. Once they all start pricing up, this one may go bigger. So remember to look for a firm that's going to offer you the SP if it's bigger than the price you take. I just think that given the price that Sir Michael Stout's horse is and the price David O'Mara's is, they've both shown similar form. I think Zero is open to improvement at the trip and on the ground, and he's a much, much bigger price. So that's my reasoning behind Zero in the 455 race at Beverly, and he is the last of my 4 selections for this weekend. Well, of course, I can't guarantee and probably don't really expect to achieve the kind of heights that we had last week. We're very much in credit for a bit of time to come. But I wouldn't be surprised at all to see a few of these horses run very, very well indeed. And I hope once again they give us a shout and we're able to enjoy our Saturday racing without having too much on, and hopefully make a profit by the time 5 o'clock comes around. So I wish you the best of luck. Enjoy your bank holiday weekend. I hope the weather stays fine and you're able to get out and about. And look forward to seeing these horses do their stuff and hopefully give us a bit of a run for our money. But for now, from me, Paul Alster at Sportsbet TV, it's goodbye. Enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye for now.